It's the Security Weekly News, and it's Black Friday in the United States. It's episode 533, the day after Thanksgiving, when we get over the whole family thing and go and fight over big screen televisions in Walmarts because they're 10% off. Some of us just go for the fighting. I already have a television. I mean, it's the drunken fighting that I'm there for. All right. So on the show today, we've got Aaran Leyland, Josh Marpet, and Lil Me are going to talk about mobile devices and some things you might want to do to protect them as you're out roaming around the earth. And this is, for not just for you, but I think it's an employee thing too, because I certainly saw a lot of consultants lose a lot of equipment over the years. So stick around.
This is a Security Weekly production for security professionals by security professionals. Please visit securityweekly.com/subscribe to subscribe to all the shows on our network.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
It's the show that keeps you up to date on the latest security news twice a week. Your trusted source for accurate security information and expert analysis. It's time for the Security Weekly News. Ever feel like your network infrastructure is stuck in the past? Meet Meter, the company reimagining what it means to get and stay online. Meter delivers full-stack networking, wired, wireless, and cellular, all in one seamless, scalable, and secure solution. From hardware design and firmware to software, deployment, and support, Meter streamlines every part of your network while giving you all the control and transparency you need. Whether you're managing a branch office, retail stores, or a massive data center, Meter gives you performance, reliability, and the visibility you need to stay in control. Thanks to Meter for sponsoring. Go to securityweekly.com/meter to book a demo now. That's securityweekly.com/meter, METER. Ransomware, supply chain attacks, 0 days, cyber threats don't wait, and neither should your defenses. With ThreatLocker, you're not just reacting to threats, you're stopping them before they start. Our zero trust endpoint protection locks down your environment with pinpoint control over what's allowed to run and what's not. No guesswork, no blind spots, just proactive, built-for-now security that keeps your business moving. Want to see how a true default deny strategy works? Head over to securityweekly.com/threatlocker and take the first step towards shutting the door on threats before they even knock. All right, I'm Doug White, and it's the Security Weekly News. Hit that like and subscribe and leave a comment button, or you don't get a 96-inch television. Nope, that's right. All you get is the leftover asparagus that they had at the snack bar that nobody bought, and a case of Tab Cola that expired in 2021. Yeah, remember Tab? Yeah, that was a thing.
Tab
All right.
Clear, yeah. That was a big thing over here because everybody was like, you Americans, you're crazy. You have like clear cola.
Well, we do have Tab is nasty. They had that when I was a kid. That was like what your mother drank. It was like at the country club pool, your mother was drinking a Tab in a bottle.
But it doesn't really work over here because a Tab is a cigarette. So
it is.
But that was a fag.
Very confusing.
Ooh, we don't say that.
No, in Europe, a fag is a cigarette.
No,
right?
I know.
Yeah. You can go.
I learned all my
bike
British slang from 60s
fag.
BBC.
So we say fag, like go for a fag.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We just
Tobacco.
No.
The tobacco show. Anyway, sorry, Doug.
Yeah, we're all going to all start getting nostalgic about the lost era of tobacco, and yeah.
No, you have to do the voice.
Wanted to
you have to do the voice. Yeah, back in my day.
Oh, yeah, what up, you kids today with your vapes and whatever? We rolled our own and smoked them. And a bugler
Whose
tobacco.
idea was it to put the three of us on together?
That's a bad
It was
idea.
whoever's it was bad. So yeah, it's like I blame them. It's just like, okay. So the point of this show is we've all lost phones. Whether they got yanked out of your hand somewhere, they got taken by monkeys in Jezri Karangasam, accidentally dropped overboard on the SS Martini on that booze cruise, or maybe just fell out of the holder on your motorcycle on the FDR at 60 miles per hour, and you saw it in the rearview mirror tumbling through the traffic. And yeah, I mean, all those are problematic to me. And to me, it's one of my great modern fears is that I don't do any prep for travel anymore. I mean, back in the day, I had maps, I had stuff marked on maps, I knew where I was going and on and on. But today it's just kind of like, oh, my phone is lost. Where's the nearest Apple store? Siri, are you there? And your phone is meanwhile going off down the street on a moto. So we have some experts here on losing things in drunken states. We have Josh Marpet and Aaran Leyland. Hi.
Hey, so the total inspiration of this was that I'm an absolute nightmare when it comes to my phone, considering I apparently work in cybersecurity and stuff. Over the last couple of years, I've lost 3 phones. Well, basically they've been stolen. 2 at a metal gig. Weirdly, the same band, Enter Shikari, and had my pocket dipped in the mosh pit.
Wow.
But that wasn't that bad because it was insured and it was locked. But the big thing in London is, depending on what stats you read, 200 to 300 phones are stolen in London out of people's hands every day. And what they try and do, which is cataclysmic, is they try and get it out of your hand open. So only a few weeks ago, I'm outside the British Museum. Not paying attention, waiting on an Uber, a guy on a souped up, super fast e-bike, all in black for Black Friday, and I'm in black for Black Friday too. Ripped it out of my hand. I went to sprint after him. The guy was gone and he had my phone open, but lucky enough, I had my phone pretty well locked down and some shortcut app automations that luckily when they did something, my phone locked itself. So I'm so glad that somebody at work told me about that shortcut thing. But yeah, Josh, how many things have you lost, and were you sober at the time? Because I wasn't sober any of them.
It's been a long time since I've been significantly drunk. Please don't take that as a challenge, dear God. And I have lost a phone to the ocean twice, and we're not going to talk about that. And I've had a phone stolen once or twice. I was also an expert on the world's largest SIM swapping case. So not necessarily just your phone, but it's also your account. Mm. So there's a lot of problems with phones these days. For example, if you're in Wi-Fi, you don't even know you've been SIM swapped until hours or days later. If your phone is stolen, obviously it's gone. But what if it's stolen out of your pocket? How long did it take you when it got stolen out of the mosh pit? How long did it take you to realize, hey, my phone's not in my pocket anymore?
Oh, it was after the gig, and I was just heading out of the gig, and I was just like, book an Uber. I don't have my phone. But the big thing in London, the big thing is they actually look to see if your phone's open and pull it out open, because obviously then they're going to get more resale value, because they've probably locked it down and it's open. But they go into your Amazon, into your eBay, into your bank accounts, into absolutely everything, even into your photos and your notes, and then start trying to blackmail you. I actually, when my phone finally appeared in Saudi Arabia, I got a text message from them asking me to turn off the lost mode and find my iPhone. And like, seriously, they sent me that text message, and they're like, we're in your phone, we've got your stuff, we'll be like good guys and we'll like delete it all if you turn that off. Which obviously for them, flipping a phone with find lost mode unenabled, it's like they're going to get maybe $4,000 or something for the phone, whereas if they're breaking it down to parts, they're only going to get a few $100s with that phone. At least that's what I reckon's going on there anyway.
Well, I was yesterday, I was walking in the street in Boston, and I saw a guy on a moto coming, like over toward the curb. And I was like, get the bear mace. It's like, I don't think that they were actually trying to grab our phones, but I was really thinking about this because all three of us were walking down the street, and we all three had our phones in our hands, and they were all open. And I was like, yep, that's where they're going to swerve over here and grab one of them and take off. And then it is open. It's active. It's not locked. And if they can get to it quick enough, they can shut, they can shut off Wi-Fi so you can't go brick it somewhere. Because I did notice Apple's guidance was like, immediately go to this website and brick your phone. And it's like, well, how am I going to go to the website? They just took my phone. It's,
Exactly. And I didn't know my password to my Apple ID to look at find my iPhone. So having like your IMEI and knowing your password is like so important. But in London, there was a big joke recently that there's so many stolen, they've literally just accepted it now. So, the way you have the mind the gap sort of signs on the London Tube? Well, they've done something funny towards that, saying mind the phone thief, which is literally just like, rather than sending police out all over London to catch these thieves, they're making a joke of it, that there's a track down like Oxford Street or something in London that says mind the phone thief rather than mind the gap.
Well, yeah, we actually went to a model with the laptops where the consultants were just like literally giving them almost like throwaway laptops, because we kept having consultants go out and they would, they were always by themselves pretty much, and they would go to a coffee shop or a diner and they'd leave their laptop sitting somewhere and somebody would just grab it and walk off with it. And we kept having that problem. And of course, this had proprietary stuff on it. So we started talking about like throwaway. I don't know. Let's look at, so Aaran put together some nice steps for us about things maybe you could do, maybe you should be doing for all the phones that you manage, whether it's just yours or it's everyone's. I was already thinking about, you need a strategy for what. So part of my strategy was, what do you need when your phone is gone? So you're on a trip, whether it's a business trip, it's a personal vacation, you're at a mosh pit, whatever. What are you going to need when your phone is lost? Don't put it on your phone. So one of the steps, the first step here was record your IMEI. So on an iPhone, you can dial star hashtag 06 hashtag, and that will give you the IMEI number of your phone. This is pretty useful because you will need this if you need to contact your carrier about blacklisting that device. You agree?
Yeah, so I like when I phoned them up, they asked for the IMEI and stuff like that. I didn't actually have it, but lucky with Vodafone, who I was with, they had it. But there's also things like so they blocked my phone, but I had to like get it blacklisted as well. So there was like 2 steps, and when I actually went for the phone insurance, they wanted so much information. But one of the things that they definitely wanted to see, that you had enabled like a worldwide blacklist for that iPhone as well.
Josh, I don't know. Do you think IMEI, you have yours handy?
I don't. And I mean, I'm thinking like, how would I get it? Because here's the problem. I can pull my IMEI. That's not like actually getting it with phone in hand. That's not a problem. But where am I going to put it? I'm going to put it into like 1Password, which I access through my phone.
Well, so one of my strategies for this, when I was thinking through this, was I started doing what I used to do for disaster recovery planning, and I started making a script for what am I going to do when this happens? Because I've really thought about this a lot, especially when I was traveling in foreign countries and so forth. And I was thinking, if I lose my phone today, my daughter and I were walking down the street in Paris one time, and I was like, if we lost our phones right now, we don't even know the address of the building we're staying in. Like, so how am I going to get back to where I'm staying? I was talking to somebody the other day about on campus now, they've changed all the doors. So the doors only open with your phone. So if you don't have your phone, you can't even unlock the doors, the parking barrier, or anything on campus. So if you just lost your phone there, you would not be able to do this. So I actually did start making a list of things. And one of the things I kind of came up with that might be a solution is to just buy a burner phone that you take with you that maybe is just Wi-Fi only, because you're probably going to be able to find some place with Wi-Fi pretty quick. So that may be the strategy for this blocking your phone, for bricking it, is to just have a phone. You sort of preset it up, leave it on Wi-Fi only, so you're not paying a monthly fee. And then you could literally just duck into the nearest boulangerie or something and use their Wi-Fi to quickly brick your phone with the IMEI. So that little step there was one of my initial. It's a cheap solution. I think it would work. I don't know. What do you think?
So there's that would work if you could remember your IMEI, if you can get in touch. Like there's certain things you have to prepare, and that I think is the core of this question.
Yes. I agree. I mean, that's what I was getting to was like, okay, I need these numbers. So I've always had written down on trips the 800 numbers of my credit card companies. And when I was going to Europe, I wrote down the international calling number for the credit cards I was going to have with, not the credit card numbers themselves. I didn't want to have those on my person, but I knew I could call back and get those numbers and call the 800 numbers and say, look, I need to cancel these credit cards in case my wallet was stolen. Now I want to have somehow the IMEI, maybe even put it in a burner phone. The IMEI itself is not, it is a risk, but it's not a huge risk if you've got it in another locked device that I wouldn't necessarily be carrying in my hand. How about, so one step, enable Find My iPhone. So this is something that I have on my phone. Find My Network and Send Last Location. I don't use Find My Network because it would only be like one or two people. I don't have any friends. But Send Last Location gives you that ping if the phone's about to power down or the battery's going to die. So I definitely like the idea of Find My iPhone. I've used that for my lost phone before.
Yeah, so I've used that as well. But what these guys are actually doing, because they're stealing them open, and maybe some people have their control center that on the lock screen that you can swipe down, is they're going straight and switching it to airplane mode. And then they're putting them in literally a Faraday bag, or when the police recently raided a big gang in London, like about 6-8 weeks ago, they had apparently stolen 40,000 phones, and one of the places they raided, all the phones were wrapped up in tinfoil as well. So they really absolutely know what they're doing here.
Interesting. So I'm assuming those are phones that they snatched on one of those e-bikes, and then they were still open, and then they would disable, while it was open, they would disable the lock, which should require you to authenticate. What an idea to disable the lock. And I honestly don't know if it does. Does it require you to re-authenticate to disable the locking mode? Does anybody know? I can check. But if it doesn't, that's a bad thing.
There's a feature on iPhones where you can, I got to think of what it's called now. It's a location feature. So if you're not at home, it goes into a stricter mode. And if somebody tries to go to the control screen or these kind of things, so you can define the location and say, when I'm at home or at my office, this is relaxed. When I'm not there, or you can put in whatever you want. When you're not there, you're walking down the street in Paris, it's got a stronger scenario, and it would not allow somebody necessarily to go to the Wi-Fi mode or the airplane mode screen just without authenticating. I'm trying to find what that feature was called. I wrote it down somewhere.
Well, I don't know, but I mean, you can, just to be clear, one of the easiest things you can do, it's not cheap, but the easiest thing is have an Apple Watch on. If you have an Apple Watch on, the minute they snatch it out of your hand, you just go lock the phone.
Yep. And that was one of my solutions too. If you have an Apple Watch, which means now you have to have an Apple Watch, which means you have to be wearing a watch, which I don't have one because I don't like to wear things. And so, I don't have rings. I don't have watches. I just don't like that stuff. So
on my phone, have rings, they're just not on your fingers, Doug. Anyway,
would you like to?
There's all the extra security things you can do. But on iPhone, there's an app that you can download called Shortcuts. And I think maybe on Android, there's one called Tasker. And you can actually set up automations. And a guy showed me this at work. And if you press settings or my photo album and a few others, as soon as you press it, it locks my phone screen. And to get into that app, then it's an extra step, and it's sort of the muscle memory of doing
it's
it.
smart.
Annoyed me a bit, but then you just swipe up and then you can get in. But that is absolutely what saved me. Is like, I think they maybe press settings to go turn something, and that's when my phone must have locked. But I don't know about Android. Do any of you guys have an Android? But basically nearly every app on my iPhone, you can't do it all catch all. You have to go into every app, push down on the button, and then you can have Face ID on nearly every single app. Weirdly, settings isn't one of them, and that shortcut app isn't one of them either. So like, that's just some weird nuance. But you can also, on some of the automations, when you turn airplane mode on, there's an automation that automatically switches it back off. And I've even heard of some people, not all phones can do this, Apple isn't very good, that if they send a text message to their phone, they've got an automation set up that it goes into sort of stolen mode, and it goes into save your battery. It then sends a location every minute. Some of them on Android maybe can even take a photo of the camera and send it to you.
I saw that.
So that's all pretty cool.
Well, yeah, the feature I was talking about is called stolen device protection, which was introduced by Apple last year, I think. So it doesn't apply to all iOS, but it definitely makes a lot of features restricted to Face ID only. So, or some other biometric. I don't know if you can use a fingerprint still or whatever, but it switches it over to that face mode. Another one that you had listed was strong lock screen. So meaning that you should think about, well, to me, it's you need better than a 0000 PIN number on your phone, and we've seen
Hey, it's good enough for nuclear weapons. It's good enough for my phone. Okay,
and definitely not a 4-digit PIN number, because like these guys, for actually getting into your phone and causing absolute mayhem, they can try 999 times, and if you don't have that thing where you put it in 10 times wrong, it swipes your phone. They're going to do it. They're probably not going to try nearly all combinations of a 6-digit code, I don't think.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you do set that feature, that 10 shot, I mean, it's a little scary because it basically says, wipe this drive after 10 tries or something. Right. And I was like, yeah, that'll be in your pocket at the concert. And you're going like, what just happened? But I do like that. And I mean, honestly, with the 10 tries, they probably aren't going to get lucky even with a 4-digit PIN number, but it would be much better to use a much longer PIN.
What I did find when I was, a guy at work lent me a phone so that I could have a phone for a while, that even if you've backed up your iPhone, it is an absolute nightmare to then set that up on a new iPhone. And authenticator apps were a nightmare. I had to sign into every single app. It was an absolute nightmare. And then I did that for an interim measure while the insurance was sending me a new phone. So I had to do that twice. And then I had to go into every single app and turn on the Face ID the way I was doing it. And the time that I lost twice was quite substantial. And seriously, I actually, when I lost it the first time way back when I was allowed to have cryptocurrency, I couldn't get the authenticator app to work. So then I couldn't get into some of my crypto wallets.
Yeah, I think one of my stratagems would be that, and we did this with lots of other things, would be that part of your disaster plan for your phone would be to have a list. I would prefer it probably be in writing, maybe not of specifics, but what are the apps you absolutely have to have? Like what are the things you're going to really need, whether that's just Google Maps or it's whatever you use, or it's your crypto app or anything like that. And be sure you have tested yourself. How do I restore this? how do I get these 4 things I can't live without back online quickly with another phone? Not just I got a new iPhone and I transferred everything by touching them together, but I've got a totally new phone. Test that process and see what do you need to know to do that in a foreign location when you're not at home.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
By the way, going back to what you said about the authenticator apps. Oh, dear Lord.
Yeah.
Because authenticator apps do not go into the backup. Thank you. The app does, but your codes
They
don't.
do not.
Right.
And if you have as many damn codes as I have on my multiple authenticator apps, it's not fun.
Yeah, there's
One thing you
pages
can
on
do-
mine. I have
exactly.
pages on mine, literally, and I'm like, okay, what if I lost all these?
You're screwed. One thing
And
you
if you
can
think if
do-
someone steals your phone open and you have 2-factor authentication and it's not closed down and they go into like your bank or something like that, and what's happening when you reset your password is it's going to go to the text message of that phone, or it might go to the email that the app is on that phone. So
Yep.
they can actually get the one-time passcode to that phone or to the email. And they can get into just practically anything that you have 2-factor authentication going to your phone by text or by email.
It's a SIM swap without the swap.
Let's stop for 1 second. I want to be very clear on a couple of things. Number one, if you have Face ID turned on to open your phone, don't. Okay? Why? This is not relevant to a stolen phone. It is relevant to a phone that was taken from you, perhaps by somebody with a badge. They are allowed to hold your phone in front of your face to open your phone. They are not allowed to beat your pin out of you.
Or your dead body.
Details. So have a pin on to open your phone originally. However, for certain apps, like your authenticator apps, your mail app, email, and your all of your apps that can reset passwords, that can get your bank accounts, whatever, credit cards and bank apps, have them set up to use either Face ID or fingerprint to get into those apps, and the settings app as well, from Aaron's previous instruction. If you have those apps locked down with 2-factor must be used, the open phone isn't going to do them much damn good. And that's kind of the point.
Yeah. I mean, but you do have to be careful that that's in place. And yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I just received a text message from a person that's in the same room as me. And that thing in London is, they actually have this, like down Oxford Street or whatever. It's mind the grab. So they've actually wrote that on the floor rather than mind the gap.
That could apply to so many things.
Actually the tube, it last year, I think it was, it's like London, just some of the things I see here, just like, I'm like beggar's belief. There was a poster that says, looking at someone for too long could be like harassment. I'm like, oh, I don't even know if I'm looking at people. I don't really stare at very much.
Yeah, you don't look anybody in the eye on the subway.
Seriously.
Keep that head down. Unless you want to go full crazy and be like, yeah, and then they tend to leave you alone as well. So it's just like, but
I think something that I just wanted to highlight is that, for your iPhone or your Android phone, they find my iPhone and the sort of locking it down thing is very, very important. And if you maybe have find your iPhone on someone you trust's phone, they can lock it down for you. If you call them, someone.
Yeah, but how are you going to get in touch with them?
Phone number.
I'll give them a call.
Call box.
I'm telling you right now, I thought about this a lot, and because there are very few payphones left in the world, there's very few public access phones left in the world. I really am serious about this, having a burner phone that you keep with you, that you put maybe your contact list in, and this was my strategy. Was this burner phone has got my critical information. I'm not carrying it around with me, but I've got it somewhere maybe in my hotel safe or something. So I've got a way I could get to this, and I might have to carry it with me because I'm like, what if I lost my phone? I don't know how to get back to my hotel. But I mean, it's not got all your apps and things, but it's got this information in it, and it's got your contact list. Because same thing. What's your daughter's phone number? Oh, it's just call Katie. I'm like, wait, what is her number?
Yeah, how many numbers do you remember that are actually still
not
extant,
many
Doug?
anymore?
3.
My girlfriend
I
in high
did this
school
with my
for some
daughter
reason.
the other day. I can remember 3. I can still remember my original house phone number from 40 years ago as well. But
yeah,
my
I know
mum
my
doesn't even
parents'
have a
phone
home
number, even though it's been
anymore.
disconnected for years.
Yeah,
Decades. Yeah, same here.
Yeah, I still remember that.
Do either of you, Doug? Do you know your wife's phone number?
Yes, I actually do. Strangely enough.
Okay, then you're probably okay. I know my wife's
and
phone
you're
number as well.
probably one of the few people that actually does, because people just don't know phone numbers anymore, especially mobile.
It's scary.
numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I know that one and my daughter's phone number because I got in a situation, I don't know, it was last year, I needed my daughter's phone number, and I was like, you know what, I don't remember what it is. I was like, that's pathetic. So I looked it up and memorized it. But yeah, I mean, I think most people don't. They're just like, they hit the contact list. So that's something to put in your backup approach, whatever that backup approach is. I mean, if it's not a burner phone, maybe it's a file folder, like a real old school, and you got the red file and you're, locked in the hotel safe that's got your contacts and things like that. And it just so you can, because we used to do that. We used to have a file folder that had copies of passports and all these kind of things, because one of the things they used to tell you a long time ago was, if you're going to England, you're going to Germany, whatever, always have a copy of your passport. So if it gets stolen, you could take that photocopy of your passport to the U.S. Embassy and say, look, I really have a passport. Here's the number. Here's all the information. Now, I know some of you probably feel that's a big risk because you've got like personal information on a piece of paper somewhere. But I don't know. I'm sort of liking on my burner phone idea. Couple other things we had here before we run out of time. One was backups. And one of the things I wanted to be sure that I said to you was backups are great and you should have them, but you also need to figure out, how do I implement this? So just walk yourself through a scenario where you say, okay, I just lost my phone. A guy grabbed it out of my hand. There's a whole bunch of stuff you need to think about there, but how do I get a new phone? So I go to the Apple store. I just happen to look up and I go, oh, there's an Apple store right there in front of me. Wow. And you walk in and buy a new phone. Do you know your Apple ID? Do you know your Apple ID password, et cetera, et cetera?
I didn't know it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I would either. I haven't changed.
I have like 4 passwords memorized specifically for this reason.
That one. Okay.
I have my Apple ID password, my master password for my password manager, one of my email accounts memorized, and a couple of others, but those are the big ones. So I can reset everything from scratch if I need to, but it's a bitch.
Yeah.
The other thing you should do, by the way, just really quickly with authentication apps, is you should generate the QR code that will let you will let you import all your authentication authentication markers, and put that into your password manager.
That's a really good one.
Put it into
to me, it's just this disaster recovery thing. It's the go bag scenario, which we used to advocate for all these things, which is, what are you going to do when the building collapses, when there's a flood, when all these things? How do you get back to your servers and you get into them? Does somebody know these passwords and whatever? And I think it's very similar for those gadgets, because you're going to, if you lose this, and I mean, think about in context of where you are. Are you going to lose this in London and you don't live in London and you don't know Aaron, so you can't call him? And even if you do know Aaron, you don't know where he lives and you don't have his number because it's in your phone. Right. Okay, so maybe, that's some information that you need. I mean, you may even want to think about going back to stuff. I mean, I was thinking about it. I was like, should I get my old Michelin map file out and pull out my map of London and with my little stuff circled on it? Augustus de Morgan's grave is circled on there.
Oh, God.
No, it is. It's on there.
I believe it. I believe it. But look, easiest thing to do is have a few pieces of paper with some information that you need, stick it in a sealed envelope, put it in your trip file, the folder of paperwork and passport that you take with you if you're on a trip. If you're not going on a trip, please do some prep. Take 2 hours and prep. Aaron put together a beautiful, beautiful checklist. in the show notes that is like 7 pages long that we haven't even gone through a third of. Please use it. Okay. And get your phone set up so that if it is stolen, you can buy a new phone, lock your old phone, reset everything, and be back up and running within a day. No big problem. Because trust me, I lost my phone and it wasn't stolen. I was trying to take pictures of my kids in the surf. And so I'm back to the ocean and a big wave went, wee. And so I knew it was fine because nobody had it. And it still took me a week and a half to reconstruct all my crap. Okay.
Right. And even how many credit cards and bank cards and other cards do we have? And if you've lost them as well, and you don't know your passwords for your bank, it's like having an absolute nightmare trying to race the thief to change sort of passwords on your bank accounts and that. If you are literally sat there now and you're like, if I unlock my phone, so your phone has been stolen out of your hand, what extra security have you got wrapped around that they cannot absolutely ruin your life? And this is things like you need your IMEI number so you can have your SIM blacklist or your IMEI blacklisted and your SIM blacklisted. That's the two things. And do you have your password for your Find My iPhone? Do you have a strong passcode? It's like lock screens without being able to get into your controls. 2FA. Do you have a PIN on your SIM? Your backups, your stolen device protection, your Find My Network, Find My iPhone, and what you, to Josh and Doug, have been saying, like, do you have them emergency numbers? Do you know it? Do you even know who to report your phone to? It's like this, like, losing your phone with your password intact and it locked, it's not that bad, right? But losing your phone, think about it with it open, like it's a race against time against you and the criminal, right?
And even if it's not, I was just at OneCon in Las Vegas 2 weeks ago, and I was sitting outside smoking a cigar because at this time of year the weather in Las Vegas is pretty nice, and I had left everything I locked everything in my hotel room because I was like, I'm going outside at night. I'm not going to carry, wallets and all these things. And I was thinking, I can't even get in the elevator to go to my room if I don't have my phone because all the keys in that hotel are on your phone. I mean, they'll give you a physical key, but I didn't have one. And I was thinking, what if I don't even have an ID with me. It's like, if, my phone just dies. I mean, you don't even have to think about these dire, it's stolen, even though that's really common. But I really think you need to work through this. We used to call this the red card system. It was like when all else fails. And you really need to work through this, even if you're just an individual and you're not thinking about a company, but you need to work through this with your employees too, because you have people out all over the world. They've got these gadgets. They may have incredible proprietary stuff. What are you going to do? What's the strategy? What's the first thing that happens when this stops working? And you really need to think that through, whether it's with your family or it's just by yourself or it's with your whole company, that at some point you're going to lose this. It hopefully is not the worst possible point, like you're on a boat and you need to pay to exit the boat. Although I got to pay him for my brother's fuel that way one time. He said I dropped my phone in the ocean on purpose. And I was like, yeah, I guess too bad I don't have a wallet. But I mean, you need to think about that. Where are you going to be when this is gone? Are you going to be able to even pay for lunch? Are you going to be able to find an Apple store? Are you going to be able to do anything? You can't get an Uber. You can't do anything. So it's a very dire exercise that I think you probably need to be doing right now if you've never done that. I know I need to redo this too because I haven't done it in a while. Anything else?
Yeah. And like, if you've lost your phone, there's so many scams wrapped around the scams within the scams and within the scams. And they will really, really pressure you on it. Like, no, if your phone's been stolen and then somebody tries to contact you to say, we have your phone in that, check that it's not a scam within the scam and just Google it. Yeah. And all these will come up. It's like, there's loads of really good information out there.
Yep. But start thinking about it. I think that's the critical thing is you need to think about this very analytically.
Use your brain? Come on.
Yeah, but I mean, literally sit down and think
Isn't
about
there an app for that?
Yeah, I'm going to Atlantic City tomorrow. Sit down and think about, what if my phone is stolen? And of course, I would say go ahead and extend that to they not only stole my phone, they took my wallet. A guy walks up with a knife and says, hand over the goods. I mean, that happens. And now you don't have your wallet, you don't have your phone. Okay, what are your steps? What are you going to do? And how are you going to recover from this? And you need to think about your time horizon as well. So, okay, is it going to take you a week and now you're stuck in Paris for a week and you don't even have a hotel room and you're just sitting on the metro? Or, do you have a plan that you can actually enact when that occurs? So I think we're running out of time. This probably should have been a 3-hour training video or something.
Easy.
Yeah. But
right, maybe we can do that sometime. But
yeah,
people should definitely, because all you tech people are probably really good at all this phone security. But this would be a great show to send the YouTube link to your friends and family and stuff like that aren't so tech savvy, and get them thinking about this. Because one day they may phone you up and go, "You really saved me there, because my phone got lifted in London open, and I know that it was locked down shortly after it because I knew what to do."
And a lot of people don't like to think about bad things. I do, but I mean, basically, you need to. I mean, this is really serious. Think about this for your kids too. I mean, when your kid goes to the amusement park for the day and they lose their phone, or how dependent are they on that? Are they going to be able to, when they go to security and say, "I lost my phone, I don't know how to reach my parents," and they go, "What are your parents' numbers?" And you're like, "Oh, they're in my phone." Do you know your parents' last name or your home address? "Oh, it's in my phone." I mean, that could be pretty scary. I mean, and maybe your kids aren't like that, and your kids are going to be like, "Yes, we live at 10101 Mockingbird Lane. It's no problem." I want to thank Josh and Aaron for doing this. I know Aaron put together a huge script that we got to about a tenth of.
Yeah, seriously.
It's a great script. It is in the show notes, so you can check that out. If you are Black Fridaying, I hope you're having a good time fighting people over the last case of Tab at Walmart. But hey, enjoy those 10% discounts. Thanks, Aaron and Josh. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on the Security Weekly News.
Thanks, guys. Woohoo!